The vet is a big part of any healthy relationship that you're going to have with your new dog. The veterinarians are a big part of what we got going on. They're the key to health. They're a check system for breeders. So it's important that we understand about selecting a good vet. We want to make sure that the veterinarian has the best interest of the dog. And before you get your dog, you should have an idea of the veterinarian that you're going to use. I had an experience recently when we took the puppies to the vet, and I used a different vet than I normally use, but I got a relationship with them too. And I'm gonna give you all a bit of advice. You never put all your eggs in one basket. In my experience, you gotta have multiple hookups. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make multiple relationships with different veterinarians, and that doesn't just apply to veterinarians, that could also apply to people. You want to make multiple connections. So I got a little presentation that I want to share with y'all. We're talking about veterinarians, and this is the presentation that I have for y'all. So did you know that the veterinarian industry is characterized by a large share of market concentration? And I did some research finding out who's making these prescriptions. How does the vet make their money? I already know that it's a money scheme. They try to charge you 3-4 different times, and that's one of the indicators of another vet, a good vet. A lot of the vets don't have the animal's best interest. They got to run a business. So let's understand that everybody got bills to pay. The veterinarians go to school to make money, to have an advanced career. When you have these vets, they don't make as much as a human physician. One of the biggest ways that the vets are going to make money is prescribing antibiotics. Basically, they selling drugs or prescribing prescriptions. A lot of that is controlled by big pharmaceuticals. Big pharmaceuticals are heavily involved in the veterinarian industry. This I did not know. It's important to understand that because these are the safety nets for our dogs' best health. We all care about our pets. We want to make sure that they remain safe. We go to the vet trusting and believing that they are going to provide us with safe medications, but they are influenced by big pharma. We're talking about a very big industry here, the veterinarian industry. $18 billion big. That's what we spent on veterinary care in 2018. It's very important to your pet's health. Some things are required by law, and the veterinarian industry was primarily born out of the need for livestock. This kind of goes hand in hand with the agricultural industry. Prior to the 1930s and the industrialization of the United States, the dogs really didn't have veterinarians. If you talk to some of the old timers from back in the day, they'll tell you about how their dogs didn't get sick. Their dogs ate what they ate. The veterinarian, they never went to the vet. They never had shots. And that's the way that was told to me. My granddaddy told me about when he had dogs back in the day. They didn't take them to the vet at all. And the dogs didn't get sick. They had outside dogs that stayed outside year round. And that's fascinating to me. It's very different than the way that we think today, where the dogs have to go to the vet. And you got a lot of different approaches to that. It's a lot of money at stake here. People are going to do things for money, and they're not going to always act in a conscious way. I'm not saying that the veterinarian industry is full of scams or unethical. That's not what we're trying to say either. 8 companies control over 70% of the total $18 billion in revenue. Very large market share, but only 8 companies. How do they get there though? One of the things that the drug makers do, they tie in with the American Veterinarian Association. Veterinarians make their money selling drugs at the end of the day. And I got proof of that right here. Look at all of these meds that the vets prescribe for my dogs, and they're full of pills. Okay, we got gabapentin, cephalexin, Rimadyl, all of these different drugs that the vets prescribe for me. I wanted y'all to see this, and I got another bag. Can y'all see that? All these prescriptions. So how do you find a good vet? You got 4 different type of vets. Veterinarians are being sponsored also not only by big pharmaceutical companies, but companies like Banfield, corporate veterinary operations. They're funded by Purina, the pet food maker.
Purina's Beneful is one of the most popular brands of dog food in the country.
But tonight, a class action lawsuit claims it may be sickening and even killing some pets.
Purina tonight is recalling a batch of its Purina One dog food after it confirmed that a bag was contaminated with salmonella.
Consumer investigator Robin Taylor discovered hundreds of complaints of dogs getting sick, even dying after eating Purina Beneful. Robin?
Could a big-name dog food be killing pets? A California dog owner has filed a class action lawsuit against Purina Pet Care.
So they're going to feed your dog the stuff that make you get sick, and then they also got the veterinarian there on site to treat your dog when it's sick. And conventional vets often are against the raw diet. They often sell Hill Science diet. When you go to the veterinarian office, you'll see they end up marketing. They got a bunch of different free samples. This is how the drug makers solicit them, by giving them free samples and stuff like that. You also got a holistic vet. They use stuff like acupuncture. They promote wellness. They're going to do things like tests before they treat. So they may do a urinalysis, blood work, stool sample, all of these different things to check all of these different things to make sure that your dog is healthy, versus waiting till your dog gets sick and then try to treat your dog for the sickness. So that's a different school of thought, and that's more of a modern style of practicing medicine. More and more people are starting to see these vaccinations are unnecessary. Annual vaccinations are unnecessary. And what are the adverse side effects? What are the long-term health effects of that? We don't know. Only 30% of that $18 billion is being spent on medication. So you got a whole nother $12 billion being spent on tests, treatments, visits. It's a lot more money to be made. So let's say if you get your new dog and you're going to try to find a good vet. Well, these are the different style of veterinarian school of thought, or the different type of clinics. Right? So you have the specialist vet. That's where we're talking about dental, orthopedic, surgeons, reproductive vets. These vets tend to have a laser focused on their treatments and practice. This is the type of vet that you're going to use as a breeder. Kind of questions that you may have for the specialist, or when you're looking for some very specific service, you're going to ask them questions like, do you have a lab on site? This is important information because if you're going to be breeding dogs, time is of the essence. You need to get your test results within, in a timely fashion. So specialized veterinarian is going to have those type of services on site. And that's important information to understand. Is this veterinarian reputable in this area of expertise? You want to know this in advance. Don't wait until your dog has to have a C-section and then to find out that this vet doesn't do C-sections, or they're not equipped to do a C-section, and they have to call in a team of people. You also want to get an idea of what is it going to cost. And some of the vets could charge, if you're talking emergency clinic, we could be talking $6,000 to $10,000 in treatment, and depending on what the case is. Then you got your basic veterinarian. They tend to offer general care, and they don't have the specialized services they're able to provide, testing, but they have to send it off to a lab. I feel like variety is the spice of life. It's always good to have a nice variety. You don't want to get too caught up with, this is where I go and this is what I do, this is who I deal with. You want to try to get a good relationship with multiple vets. They may not be able to fit you in at the last minute. You want to make sure that they have the services. That's it for today. You want to look out for these vets that's going to try to charge you all of these additional fees. And I don't want none of my Boer fans getting took, none of my supporters to get taken advantage of. I care about everybody. And it's good to understand, I'm here to help you. I appreciate y'all though. We're going to keep it rocking. Don't forget to visit boerboelpuppy.com. If you got more questions, you can always give me a call. I'm happy to be able to offer my services. Julep, 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 julep.